Time to open door number 3. It's the module that everyone's been waiting for, crafting the perfect experience. This is where you get to put the experience formula into practice in your product to create a powerful experience escalation. If there's one thing I know about you, it's this. You really care about the success of your students, customers, and clients, and you want to create an extraordinary experience that sets them up to win from day one so they can get from mission to mission accomplished. Because when that happens, you create happy customers who want to do 2 things. Number 1, continue their journey with you, and number 2, share your experience products with their friends. And those 2 things will catapult your business into outer space, cyberspace, and beyond. And it all starts with the core principle of this program. Earn while you learn, the anti-perfectionist path to rapid product creation. The key idea here is to sell your product before you fully create and deliver it. The reason why this principle is so crucial when you're developing a new experience product is that you are not your buyer. You're creating a product for other people, and the only way to know if it's going to resonate with them is to try to market it and see if people buy. You can save yourself a lot of time, energy, and heartache if you develop, test, and market your idea before you spend the time to create your experience product. That way, when you do create and deliver it, you know you're creating something people want. This also gives you the benefit of being able to see how your students, customers, and clients experience your product as they're going through it, where they get stuck, the questions they ask, the requests they have, so you can shift your product on the fly to better meet their needs. This approach allows you to be flexible and responsive, and it always leads to a better product than if you had agonized over making something perfect before you tested it in the market. Or if you tried to get it all in the can before you saw how real people responded in a real situation. While you do need to have a solid offer in place before you market, because you've got to be able to answer all 5 steps in the product sales sequence, you do not need to have your product completed before you sell it. You can create it as you deliver it, just like I first created this masterclass as I delivered it. All I needed to have done before we sold the masterclass was the first training of your light bulb moment and the first bonus, Niche Down, Profits Up, which was delivered as soon as new students signed up. After that, I could write new trainings as we went and respond in the moment to how people were experiencing the program. I would get each additional training done anywhere from a week before I taught it to the morning of, depending on my schedule. But here's the thing. When you have to show up and deliver your product at a specific time, you're going to get it done no matter what. There's no way around it. It's the perfect incentive because other people are relying on you to deliver the product when you say you're going to deliver it. There's no wiggle room, so you make it happen. And you usually make it happen just as good or better than if you had drawn out the process and given yourself several weeks more to get it done. Parkinson's law states that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. It's estimated that up to 50% of an average employee's time is wasted time. After all, when you have 8 hours to get your work done, why would you be incentivized to get it done faster? When you allow the same employee to work from home or give them time flexibility, all other things being equal, the same employee will do the same work much faster. Because now the faster they get it done, the sooner they'll be able to get on with their other priorities. Things like family, friends, hobbies, you name it. As long as you give them conditions of satisfaction, so they're still incentivized to deliver the very best work possible. So what I found is that if I have 3 hours to get a training written, I get it done in 3 hours. There isn't any time to ham-ha or second-guess myself. I just start writing. Let me give you an example. I had the opportunity to go to San Diego for a 3-day mastermind during the time that I first needed to deliver the Experience Essentials marketing module. I really wanted to go, and I didn't have my trainings written for the following week. Plus, I had the 2-day Experience Product Lab scheduled for the following weekend. So my plate was full. Now, if I approached the decision logically, I probably would have made the choice to stay home and get everything done. But I felt drawn to go. My heart was longing to go. The mastermind didn't start until 10 a.m. each day, so I decided to wake up between 6 and 7 a.m. each morning, get breakfast delivered, and write for the 2 to 3 hours before each session started. I was able to get one complex marketing training written each morning before the session started, and about half the time it would usually take me to write something of that level. But I knew how much time I had, I was committed to getting my trainings written and attending the full mastermind, so I made it happen. Because work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. There was less time to do the work, so I got it done in less time. My secret? I take 5 to 10 minutes the night before to prepare everything and have it all queued up to hit the ground running the next morning. I create and open whatever Google Docs I'll be using to write my content. I line up any resources that I need. If I have existing content that I want to leverage, I'll cut and paste that into the Google Doc. So I'm not spending any time in the morning preparing. I'm just ready to go. What I've learned from my 15-year career working with creatives and a lifetime of being a creative is that a lot of time is wasted when people don't know what to do when. Or they're switching from task to task to task, so they spend time thinking about what to do next rather than just doing it. By simply taking 5 to 10 minutes the night before to set an intention about what you're going to do first and get all your docs and resources open and ready, you can do a lot really quickly. You just have to know exactly what you're going to do when and be prepared when that moment arrives. So let me continue my story. I also wanted to attend the Monday Fun Day the day after the mastermind because they had scheduled indoor skydiving and that sounded really fun. But I had some materials to prepare for the Experience Product Lab as well as my training the next morning. So I scheduled a 2-hour block after the session ended on Sunday night before the closing party to get everything done so I could go play the next day. And lo and behold, it all got done. And here was my reward. This is how you manage to move mountains and still have time for life. It took me some time to train my focus to get a lot done, and if you're not used to doing a lot quickly, it may feel uncomfortable or overwhelming at first. That's natural as you're expanding your capacity to get more done more quickly while maintaining a state of ease and flow. It's tempting to write off what you're experiencing and stop because it's not comfortable, but that just keeps you where you're at. I believe that you are infinitely powerful, capable, and resourceful. You can create anything you want when you understand what you want and you commit 100% to a specific outcome and time frame. I know I shared this story before, but it bears repeating. Before Murray and I got married, I remember asking a friend how marriage had changed their relationship. And what she told me has stuck with me ever since. She mentioned that there was a sweetness and a richness to marriage that she didn't anticipate and couldn't have foreseen. When you're dating, you always have the easy option of pulling the plug and walking away at any time. If something upsets you or triggers you, you can parachute out. But when you get married, you're making a commitment to stay with it and work out the kinks and challenges along the way. You're essentially closing the escape hatch. And that makes all the difference.
Love and marriage, it's an institute you can't disparage.
When I heard that story, I realized that I had created escape hatches in pretty much every area of my life, from diet and exercise to relationships to business. I was making vague intentions and using language such as, wouldn't it be nice? Or I'll try, or let me see if. And then, if it didn't happen, I wouldn't have failed because I didn't really commit in the first place. I was trying to play it safe, and by playing it safe, I wasn't getting where I wanted to go in key areas of my life and business. Hearing that story helped me make the decision to commit to my relationship with Murray, to get married and to become partners and co-owners in Live Your Message, and our other companies. I closed the escape hatches in 2013, and I haven't regretted it once. Let me ask you, where are you leaving the escape hatches open in your business or in your life? Something to think about, right? Are you ready to be all in with your business, your experience product, and the Experience Product Masterclass? Good. Even if it seems scary or uncomfortable to share your work before you feel like you have all your little ducks in a row, there are a few huge benefits of taking an earn while you learn approach to marketing and selling your experience product before you create it. The first is that it gives you the opportunity to test your idea in the market before you spend the time to create your product. Then, if worse comes to worse and no one buys, you have time to pivot your product because you haven't created it yet. You're also less attached to the outcome because you're approaching your product like a scientist. You're willing to test different things and see what works, what doesn't, and what can be improved, rather than hinging your entire identity and sense of self in an idea that may need a little refinement before it's ready for prime time. That's only natural. You may have a good idea now, but the only way to turn it into a truly great, world-class idea, the only way to create a blockbuster hit, is by iterating your way to awesome. This version of your product may or may not be that blockbuster hit, but what I do know is that it will pave the way to your blockbuster hit. If you're able to stay open, flexible, and willing to listen to what your prospects are saying. This approach is a lot less risky than spending a huge amount of time to create something before you test it in the market and see if real people will spend real money to buy it. The second is that once people do buy, it seals the escape hatch and allows you to commit fully to delivering it. I was so inspired as I wrote and taught this masterclass for the first time because I knew I had 400 people waiting for it. And more than that, I could picture their faces and their stories. I was seeing them on Facebook, so I could clearly see who I was creating for, and I could also see the result I was having moment by moment. It made everything more real to me than trying to create at home alone in a vacuum. And because of that, this masterclass has so much more energy and excitement because you gave me that energy and excitement. And third, you can pivot and adapt your product in response to your students, customers, and clients' needs. I did this as I created the masterclass content. I saw where people were getting stuck, as well as the mindsets and beliefs they had that were holding them back each moment on the journey. And I was able to respond to those in the trainings. I can't tell you how many times students told me, I really needed to hear this today, or oh my God, it's like you're reading my mind. When all I was doing was responding to your needs in real time and weaving your stories, challenges, and concerns into each training. Now that made a huge difference in the way I taught this course that I could never have done on my own. Even if I had spent months agonizing over every little detail and preparing it all ahead of time, it wouldn't have been as good as what I ended up creating in collaboration with my students. That helped me realize that having more time to develop and market a product does not necessarily lead to a better product. I think you can agree that the quality of this product, from the teaching to the slides to all the other materials and engagement, has been top notch. We didn't sacrifice quality by creating it quickly. Instead, we added the ability to listen and respond to your needs. Can you see how an anti-perfectionist earn while you learn approach actually saves time and results in better, higher quality products that serve your students, customers, and clients more effectively? Absolutely. Shifting to an earn while you learn, iterate your way to success, there is no failure, only feedback approach to product creation has been huge for us in our business, allowing us to grow faster and serve deeper. Here's the thing. Some of you may not get to mission accomplished because once you start to market your product, you may discover that you need to pivot your idea, and that's completely okay. That's a natural part of the product creation process. Just let go, commit fully, and enjoy the ride. Know that whatever happens, you're still learning and growing. While the goal of mission accomplished is important, what's really important is the action you take and what you learn from taking those actions. You're developing the skills to create a product from idea to launch. And if you do it once, you can do it again. Right now, you have a unique opportunity where you have all this support and this incredible context to just get it done, no matter what happens. Then the next time around, it will feel so much easier, and you'll have the confidence and clarity that can only come from action. You'll have developed the skills and self-trust that you need to create any product at any time and make way more than $2,000. Now that's worth the price of admission no matter what happens with this particular product. All you have to do is stay in the game. Keep watching one training at a time and taking one action at a time. Just focus your attention on the next step and do this one exercise at a time. Whether you're working a full-time job or you have family obligations, you can do this when you take it one step at a time. Remember, this is only 10 weeks. This is a 10-week sprint. So I recommend you shift your attention away from what you can't do to what you can do. Shift your attention from excuses to intentions. Shift your attention from feeling overwhelmed by everything to what's the next video, the next action, and simply do that. If you want it, you can do it. If you commit, you can do it. If you seal the escape hatches, you will do it. Okay, let's talk about 13 specific rapid product creation methods that you can use to get out of perfectionism so you can create and deliver your experience product fast without compromising quality. The goal is to choose the method that best suits your style, your personality, and the way you work. Let me share all 13 methods first, then I'll cover each method in depth. First up, you have live delivery. Then you can interview yourself or interview others. You can create a product in partnership with someone else. You can repurpose existing content. You can start with beta customers or a beta group. You can do a mind map or an outline or sketch your ideas. Or you can research and curate the best ideas. You can create from slides first or from a script, or make a prototype, which is best for physical products or software. I'm giving you 13 methods because it's common to use between 2 to 5 methods as you create a specific product. You want to choose methods that work with your strengths, gifts, and creative style. If a certain method doesn't work for you, don't use it. There are plenty of other ways to get your experience product done, out, and making money. Rapid product creation method number 1 is live delivery, and I highly recommend that you create your experience product by delivering it live, one-to-one, one-to-few, or one-to-many. Now, when I say live, that usually means live virtual, where you set a specific time or a series of times, and then you show up and deliver live on the internet during those times. All the live virtual delivery tools allow you to record your sessions so they can be turned into replays or an evergreen product that can be viewed at any time in the future. The 3 most common ways to deliver live virtually are to host a teleclass or teleseminar where you deliver audio only, host a webinar where you deliver slides and audio, and direct to camera where you show yourself on camera and deliver audio, or you alternate between direct to camera and slides or screen shares where you show whatever is on your screen. Screen shares are common in look over my shoulder how-to tutorials. There are a couple free services you can use for live virtual delivery. FreeConferenceCall.com gives you free audio conferencing, video conferencing, and screen sharing for up to 1,000 participants. Google Hangouts is also a free tool that allows audio conferencing, video conferencing, and screen sharing for an unlimited number of participants. This tool is a bit more technical to set up and doesn't allow for an event series, so you'll have to create a new Hangout with a new URL for each event in your series. My personal favorite paid service is Zoom. I find it super simple to use for both me and my participants. I also like the way they record and deliver the audio, video, and chat from each session, but it will cost you. You can check out the monthly plans at zoom.us. Now, please keep in mind that Zoom has 2 services, Zoom Meeting and Zoom Webinar. Zoom Meeting is more intimate since it allows all the participants to see each other and gives them the ability to share their screen. Zoom Webinar allows more host controls, but limits the amount of audience engagement with each other. You can also do live delivery physically in person, where you lead an event or a series of events that you audio record and or video record. Keep in mind that this can be more tricky to turn into a product, since in-person events usually have a lot more engagement with the audience. So you may need to do some editing to turn the recording into a coherent product for someone who wasn't originally at the event in the room with you. Live delivery is the absolute fastest way to create a new experience product for 2 reasons. The first is that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. If you have a specific deadline, time, or series of times that you have to show up and deliver, you're going to show up and deliver, no excuses. The second is that it's much faster to record something when you deliver it live than if you try to pre-record it alone on your computer. When you're delivering live, for the most part, you roll with whatever happens, and you don't need to go back and edit unless there's a big mistake. But when you're recording on your own time without an audience, you're much more likely to try to get a perfect delivery. So you'll find yourself tripping up slightly on a word and then stopping and starting over again to get it just right. This takes longer and creates a bigger editing job later on, rather than just delivering your content live in one go and not worrying about a little fumble here and there. I personally enjoy the energy of live delivery. I'm an extrovert and I get energized by people, so I know that I deliver best when I'm delivering live to real people. This also gives me the opportunity to do Q&A after my sessions and better support people. Live delivery can feel more challenging if you're an introvert or if you like to feel like you have everything 100% under control with no surprises. With live delivery, unexpected things can and do come up, such as technology challenges or other snafus, so you have to let go and roll with the punches. Keep in mind that when you're closely connected to your students, customers, and clients, they're usually understanding about the small mistakes that happen when you deliver your program, since mistakes and glitches will happen. Remember to choose the product creation methods that best suit your style and preferences. I usually combine live delivery with a few other rapid product creation methods, so keep listening. Rapid product creation method number 2 is interviewing yourself or having someone else interview you. If it's easier for you to speak than to write, then interviewing yourself could save you a lot of time. This method works best for audio products or direct-to-camera video products that don't need slides. Of course, you will need to take care to create your experience escalation plan ahead of time so you can seed experiential elements into your interview and add in some constant wins, feedback loops, community elements, and or other core experiences into your interview. You can also edit in slides and videos later on, though that can create a bigger editing project. Some people use this approach just to get their ideas out, then get the material transcribed using a cheap tool like Trint, which allows you to upload the audio or video and turn it into a transcription almost instantaneously, then create their product from the transcriptions. The third method for rapid product creation is to interview other experts in your niche or topic area. This method works well if you're the kind of person who's well connected and finds it easy to enroll other people into your projects. This method also works if you're more of a journalist who prefers to get great material out of others than to create your own content. I use this method to create our Superhero Summit recording packs. If you're creating a compilation book or product, it's important to have a tight theme before you begin to make sure your product is coherent even though it has different authors. It can be harder to experientify this kind of product unless you coordinate well with the people you're interviewing to make sure that each session is chunked down into constant wins and incorporates feedback loops, peak experiences, and our other core experiences. Moving on to rapid product creation method number 4, which is partnership. In this method, you find someone who has expertise that complements your own, and you create a product together that provides an experience that neither of you could create on your own. This is a much deeper level of partnership than simply having an affiliate promote your products in exchange for commission on sales. This works great if you do your best work in partnership when you have someone else to be accountable to. While I do enjoy collaborating with my team at the idea stage, I personally find it more challenging to create products in partnership than to create them on my own, because I tend to have a specific vision and find it much faster and easier to just knock it out rather than trying to adapt my vision to someone else's approach. But other people work best in creative collaboration. That's why you want to choose rapid product creation methods that best suit your strengths and gifts. When you work with your natural design, product creation becomes a lot easier and more enjoyable. Rapid product creation method number 5 is to repurpose existing content. If you're a prolific creator and you have reams and reams of content that you've created over time, sometimes you can compile, edit, and repurpose that content into a coherent product, whether that's blog posts, interviews, or other content and recordings. This approach often works best for a free gift or bonus to sweeten an existing offer, though you can create entire products out of repurposed content. While the majority of the Experience Product Masterclass is new material, For some trainings, I did repurpose other material to make my job easier and avoid reinventing the wheel when I already had something written. I still took the time to adapt the original content into the Experience Product class format so it felt seamless. So it wasn't just a cut and paste job. Rapid product creation method number 6 is having beta customers or creating a beta group, and I highly recommend this approach if you're creating a new product. This is where you enroll one or more new customers at a reduced rate to test new material in exchange for feedback, testimonials, and referrals. It's common to limit the number of beta users to a specific number so you can provide a more intimate experience. This approach allows you to acknowledge that you don't have it all worked out and give early customers an incentive for jumping in while it's still a work in progress. This way, you can develop your product in relationship to your end users and get the vital feedback that you need to course correct and fine-tune both your marketing and your delivery to better meet their needs. Done right, this is a win-win for everyone involved. Another variation of the beta group approach is to offer a smaller piece of your program, for example, one module, to a beta group to get feedback and give them a taste of what you do, and then give them a discount on the full program to incentivize them to continue the journey. This approach can work if you're not 100% clear on the entire product, or if you feel more comfortable starting with a smaller investment and commitment. Earlier in my career, I used to use beta groups for new products because I didn't have the confidence to charge full price for something new. After creating 5 previous products, I've developed the self-trust and the mastery to create something awesome on demand, and I feel comfortable charging full price even the first time I offer something. It's common to do a beta group in conjunction with live delivery. The main difference from a purely live delivery approach is that with a beta group, you give a discounted price, or you limit the number of participants, or you test a small piece of a bigger product. Okay, so rapid product creation method number 7 is to create a mind map to flesh out the key points and subpoints that you want to convey in your experience product. A mind map is essentially a non-linear version of an outline, and it works great for creative, non-linear thinkers as well as visual learners. You can see an early mind map for the Experience Product Masterclass here, which I use to organize and refine my ideas about what would be in the final product. And here's a detailed view of today's session where I was planning to cover the 12 rapid product creation methods, which became 13 methods once I got started writing. As you can see, this approach allowed me to get all my ideas out and rearrange them before I created the product. I share my whole mind mapping process in the next training in this module. I highly recommend that you use mind mapping as a tool to organize your thoughts before you go to live delivery, scripting, or any of the other product creation method that you use. One benefit of doing a mind map is that you can repurpose this into a free gift leading into your offer. During the launch for our masterclass, we gave away the Experience Product Blueprint, which was adapted from my mind maps. We did spend some time to design it into a lovely PDF with descriptions of each segment, and I've seen many marketers simply give a PDF of their mind map without any additional text or formatting. The advantage of this kind of gift is that it shows people the entire blueprint without giving away any of the details. Now, most people will look at your mind map and realize they need more support to implement it. Next up is method number 8, which is to create an outline for your product before you begin. This is a more linear version of a mind map where you organize all your ideas on paper or in a Word doc or Google Doc. If you're doing a product like EPM, you usually start by outlining all the main sections or modules, plus each training or session within each module, plus the main point, outcome, or win that you want to include in each training or session. In addition to the basic info, you can expand your outline to include additional info about each module, training, or session, such as what questions or objections do you need to answer? What pitfalls can you steer them away from? What shortcuts can you give them? What stories can you tell? What how-to steps and resources do they need to move forward? And how can you supplement the training with case studies, templates, or worksheets? Outlines often include more info than mind maps, since you can write whole paragraphs if you like. I used to use outlines before I discovered mind maps. Now I prefer getting my ideas out in a shorter, more visual and non-linear way. Moving on to rapid product creation method number 9, which is sketching your ideas and frameworks. You can draw diagrams or compile reference pictures or sketch out flowcharts. This method is particularly useful for working out your bird's eye view system or framework, which we'll be covering in the next training. I often start developing my frameworks with sketches, and it can also be useful for more technical or process-driven projects where it's helpful to visually map out the step-by-step journey through your product. Here's an example of my initial sketch for the experience formula. Now, I can't draw at all, and yet I was able to create this super rough sketch that showed the concept and was enough for my designer to go on. Since then, we've evolved and improved the framework, but first I sketch all of my frameworks and the more visual materials that I want to create before I begin, even though I don't have any drawing ability. Rapid product creation method number 10 is to research and curate. There are a number of different ways you can research and curate information for your products. You can survey your customers, read the top books in your field, interview experts, invest in classes, and then curate the best information and find the gaps that other people are missing. This works super well if you're a researcher or knowledge seeker and like to have the full lay of the land before you create your product. The downside of this approach is that it can take longer to gather information and it can result in a more derivative product if you don't bring your own spark and experience to the table. I'm a great creator and a terrible researcher. I don't have the patience for research, so I delegate any research I need to my teammates. I usually do like to know specific statistics and information when I write my trainings, but I personally don't develop products through researching and curating. I prefer to create something from scratch that feels right to me based on my direct experience. But other people love to create by researching and curating the best content out there. That's why it's so important to work with the rapid product creation methods that best suit your strengths and gifts, rather than following somebody else's example. Moving on to rapid product creation method number 11, which is creating slides. If your products involve slides, some people like to work out their thoughts and organize their content directly in PowerPoint or Keynote by creating slides. This is like having a visual outline where you can easily drag, drop, and reorganize slides. This is a fast way to work out your overall presentation structure and create a set of visual talking points by using images, text, and bullets. This has the advantage of creating your slides at the same time as you organize your thoughts. When I'm creating the delivery events for our year-long programs, I usually create them using slides, since I know that I won't be able to reference a script later on, and my sole focus in these events is providing value. I don't need to think about marketing or selling. So I find that the easiest way for me to think through each event and create the best content is by working directly in Keynote. Also, since I'll use these slides to facilitate my events, this allows me to get really familiar with the content. EPM coach and trainer Don Crowther uses a combination of mind maps and slides to create his trainings. Finally, we have rapid product creation method number 12, which is writing a partial or word-for-word script for your trainings. You can write from a mind map, outline, or slides, or you can just jump in and start writing from your own creative flow. Since I consider myself a writer, I find it easiest to work my thoughts out by writing from my own creative flow. Once I develop the overall structure and organization of a product using a mind map. Murray always makes fun of me since I like to talk to myself as I write. It's really important to me that the words sound natural, like something I would actually say, so I write and talk my way through my training scripts. Scripting works great for writers who work their ideas out best by sitting down to write. Finally, we have rapid product creation method number 13, creating a physical prototype. This is common in the software and physical product world. This is where you actually create a working version of your product to test the functionality and usability before you roll it out to the market or before you send it to manufacturing. You want to create one working version first before you replicate this out to hundreds, thousands, or even millions of customers. Let me review the rapid product creation methods that I personally used in the Experience Product Masterclass to give you an example of how these methods can work together to help you create your products fast. I use sketching, mind mapping, scripting, and live delivery as my primary methods for rapid product creation. During the idea stage, I started mind mapping everything that I wanted to include in the product. That helped me discover what the main modules were and what went into each module. This also helped me pull some trainings out into pre-modules. Then I sketched out the experience product framework and sent it off for design. Then, once I had myself organized, when it came to creating the actual content, I found it easiest to jump in and start scripting. Then, since I'm at the point in my business where I can afford a team, I would add slide cues into my presentations and send them off to a designer to create slides. I'd also hand off the script to my community magic maker, who used the content in the scripts to create the emails we sent out to all of you, letting you know about each training and event during the program. Then she would hand the emails off to Murray to queue them up in our system and fire them off to you. We'll cover some of these steps later on in Module 5, Deliver the Wow, but I just want to give you a sneak peek ahead of time. Once the slides were completed, I would review the script and slides one more time and edit and fine-tune the content so it would be presentation ready. I'd also create the worksheets and the descriptions that we use in the membership site and in the emails. I usually do this final pass the night before I first taught each training, so it'd be fresh in my mind the next day. Since I get energized by people, I made the decision to deliver each session live the first time I taught it, rather than pre-recording everything, so I could bring more excitement into the training. For some sessions, I also repurpose content and organize my thoughts visually using slides before jumping into a script. So that's it. That's how I created this product. When I first got started, before I could afford the team that we now have, I used to do everything myself, from slides to scripts to emails. No matter where you are and what resources you have at your disposal, you can get your product done fast when you put your mind to it. Pause the video and take a couple minutes now to choose one or more of the 13 rapid product creation methods that you'd like to use as you create your experience product. I recommend working with your natural preferences and learning style to make product creation as easy and enjoyable as possible. So that's it for the anti-perfectionist path to rapid product creation. I hope you can see that it can be simpler than you ever imagined to create your experience product. When you go into things with an earn while you learn approach, you can provide incredible value to your tribe while getting paid to learn and paid to create your experience product. In the next training, you're going to begin the process of defining your signature system, process, or framework. Now go out there and live your message.